Hello, I'm Dr. Daniela Kaliva, Program Manager, Researcher Development at the Graduate Research Academy and coordinator of the 2023 Deakin 3MT and VYT Research Communication Skills Program. Today, I'm supported also by Dr. Pham I Tamle, Researcher Development Coordinator, who will be assisting and responding to questions in the chat box. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to the launch of the program. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we come together by playing a short video.
Deakin University would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of all the unceded lands, skies, and waterways on which our students and staff come together. As we learn, teach, innovate, and research through virtually and physically constructed places across time, we pay our deep respect to the elders and ancestors who have cared for the country that you join us from. An ancient place where education, innovation, and knowledge transfer have taken place for many thousands of years. At Deakin, we aim to nurture and continue this important legacy whilst encouraging our communities to walk softly on country in the spirit of sustainability. In particular, we give gratitude to the elders and ancestors of Wadawurrung country, Wurundjeri country, and Eastern Maar country and beyond, where our physical campuses are located. Their contributions to our learning communities and environments are rich and highly valued. Deakin is committed to embedding Indigenous knowledges and perspectives in all disciplines that we teach, as well as advancing the self-determined interests of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, including treaty and truth-telling. As you move around our physical and virtual environments, take a moment to consider, appreciate, and listen deeply to the country beneath your feet.
Today, we are bringing into focus research communication and how to develop this key research skill. We will tell you about the program we have developed for you, and you will hear about the experience of students who have participated in the competitions. You will also have the opportunity to ask questions, so feel free to post comments and questions in the chat box as we go, and we'll have the Q&A at the end. It is my pleasure to welcome our speakers. Alfred Deakin Professor Matthew Clark, Pro Vice Chancellor, Research and Development, Professor Philip Dawson, Co-Director of the Center for Research in Assessment and Digital Learning at Deakin, known as CRADLE. Our panel of 6 former 3MT and VYT winners and finalists I shall introduce later, and also information experts from the library who will be providing digital skills workshops and support as part of the program, and who will be supporting the VYT competition. The 2023 Deakin 3MT and VYT Research Communication Skills Program is an important part of the Graduate Research Academy's university-wide research and development programs for HDR students. The program aims to support graduate researchers in developing diverse research communication skill sets, no matter whether they participate in the competitions this year or not. The 3MT and VYT competitions challenge graduate researchers to succinctly describe their research and its impact to a non-specialist audience. The 3MT gives PhD students 3 minutes to deliver an oral presentation about the impact of their research project, while VYT showcases a graduate researcher's project in a 60-second eye-catching video If you partake in the competitions this year, the 3MT and VYT communications program will support you all the way to the Deakin Grand Final in early August. Let's get a taste of the atmosphere of last year's Grand Final and hear from some of the winners and some of the finalists.
I thought it would be a great opportunity to get some experience in talking about my PhD in a way that was easy to understand and interesting to people who were directly involved in it, and to paediatricians as well.
To be able to communicate to any person, like someone who's not in my field, and I think that skill building was probably the best part about 3 mini thesis, because I've often never thought about it. Like, I've never thought about my research removing all that jargon out and removing all the child developmental theories and all the different frameworks I use in very simple terms.
It's an important part of my PhD, communicating the work to families to recruit them to the trial, and also to doctors who are referring kids to the trial. So for me, it was a great opportunity to practice that skill and share my research, really.
Now I can easily tell anyone who asks me what my PhD is about really quickly as well at any sort of interaction, which is nice. And I think that was one of the best things about 3MT.
Sharing the passion you feel about your work with other people, and it's a great opportunity to do that.
And now it is my great pleasure to introduce Professor Philip Dawson, co-director of the Center for Research and Assessment and Digital Learning. He researches assessment in higher education, focusing on feedback and cheating, predominantly in digital learning contexts. Phil disseminates his work not only through scholarly journals, but also through popular and social media. His work has been featured in major Australian and international print, online, radio, and television outlets, and cited in the Australian Senate. His higher education YouTube channel receives more than 100 hours of viewing per month. He has been performing improvised comedy for more than 5 years and currently produces and performs in the Peer Review, a live show that finds the funny in academic research. Each month features a new guest academic who tells stories from their research, which a team of talented improvisers, including Phil, use to create comedy. Professor Dawson is an outstanding science communicator and will be speaking today about why being able to talk about research to a non-specialist audience is so important for researchers. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you so much, Daniela. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to everyone. I'm going to fit tons of stuff into 7 minutes, so strap in. We're going to have a good time. I just want to first acknowledge that I'm coming to you from unceded Wurundjeri land here in southeast Melbourne. So I'm going to first share just some browser tabs. And I've got here a little bit of a quote that I've chucked on a motivational poster. Academia is a machine to make overachievers feel like underachievers. And I don't know about you, but that has been my experience in academia from time to time. So the things that I say to you, you might say, Phil, that's too much. I can't fit that in. And that's totally okay. We're all on a different journey. We've all got different things going on as we do our research. But perhaps you might pick something useful up. And if you can, really challenge this thing here. Challenge this notion that we should all feel terrible. You're in amazing company here with some of the cleverest people around. Okay. When I think of research, I think of a conversation, and a paper that I recommend to loads of people. If you're a research student in my center, you've probably been referred to this paper by Lorelei Lingard, about joining a conversation. If you want one paper to help you write really good research papers, read that one. But it takes the metaphor that research is a conversation. We've got a bunch of people in a room and they're having a chat, and we want to enter it and we want to be able to talk about it. But I think we also want to be able to let other people into that conversation as well. And I'm going to talk about how we might do that. I've got 3 things that I want to talk about today. The first one of those big messages is do less research. The second one is to invest in research communication. And the third one is, at the very least, do the bare minimum. And I'll tell you what all of those things are. Now, you might have heard sort of factoid float around that 90% of research is never cited. And if you actually dig to the bottom of that, it's not very true. But a good chunk of research is never cited. This is the 10 disciplines with the highest rates of uncited publications after 5 years based on papers published in 2012. And if you're publishing in one of these disciplines in 2012, but probably now as well, odds are, here's the 50% mark, odds are the paper you publish won't get cited unless it's better or more impactful, or you do more work to get people to see it. The average paper just kind of doesn't get cited. And that's a really big problem. What's also challenging is that according to altmetrics, the average article has a 0 altmetric score. And that's quite challenging, because here's some of the ways that an article can get an altmetric score. If it's mentioned in the news, it gets 8 points. If it's mentioned in a blog, it gets 5 points, ... down to if someone, even the author, tweets the article, it gets 0.25 of a point. What this tells us is that a lot of those papers out there aren't getting read and cited by other researchers, but also importantly, there's no evidence that online anyone's really engaging with them. There's no evidence that even the author of the piece thought it would be worthwhile enough to tweet about it or blog about it or anything else. If research is a conversation, these researchers are standing in a room on their own. If we take the tree falling in a forest metaphor, this tree is out in the vacuum of space. Nobody hears it. Nobody hears about it. To me, this is a really, really sad thing, that people are doing this work that never gets engaged in that detailed kind of way that another researcher might, or that a member of the public might, or a journalist or a politician or a policymaker. Now, it's hard to identify those papers that are going to be on the long tail of uncited work and 0 altmetric work. And if I could give you one tip, it would be around excitement. As far as you can, don't write papers that you don't get excited about and that you can't get someone else excited about. Really view your own internal excitement as a really, really powerful thing. If a piece isn't exciting, work and work until it is exciting, or abandon it and move on. And I am so happy for all the papers that I haven't written, because the opportunity cost is, I worked on something else that I was excited about. Now, I started this little bit by saying, do less. And when I say do less, I'm not saying, do only 10% of the research of before, but maybe spend 5 or 10% of your time less on research and spend it more on getting the work that you do out there and really getting it engaged with people. So that's the do less. The next bit is the invest in research communication part. I went through more of a teaching and learning track than a researcher track, and then did a radical pivot into being a research-only academic and worked my way from there. So my experiences as an educator have taught me there's a lot that educators do that really transfers over to research communication. This quote here from Ruth Clark, "Content covered is not content learned," is one of my big mantras as an educator. Just because we go over it in class doesn't mean someone's understood it. This comes from a theory called cognitive load theory, and it suggests that really we can only learn or hold quite a small amount of things at a time. Now, if you want a book that kind of pivots off that, into research communication, there is a fantastic book by Alan Alda. Anyone who's familiar with the TV show MASH would know him as the character Hawkeye on MASH. He was an actor and now he's a science communicator, and he works with people and really encourages them to do improvised comedy exercises. And if you'd like to do that, you're in luck, because all over Melbourne are places that you can go and study improv comedy, which is what I've done for about 5 years. I've taken classes, trained, all sorts of things. I really encourage you to have a look at this book, but even more, I encourage you to go to one of the improv theatres that offer a free taste test sort of 2-hour workshop and just try it out. You'll get something out of just doing that, and I'll get no referral fees. So, you know, this is totally legit. Another thing that I've done is I volunteered for Lifeline for 5 years as a telephone counsellor. And really, if you want to build up that empathy, this is one of the most amazing things you can do. Alan Alda really argues that it's about a real, genuine human connection with other people. And that's what leads to great research communication. Well, training as a Lifeline telephone counsellor will give you that and more. And it's one of the best things you can do to help your fellow humans. I really encourage you to consider doing that, not just for the research communication benefits down the track, but because it's the right thing to do. And there's media training. You should do this. I do this. Last year, I engaged with Deacon's media training around live TV interviewing, because I need to improve my skills. We should always be improving our skills. So I really encourage you to engage with that. It's free for you now. You should do it. Now, the final thing I want to tell you is, at the very least, do the bare minimum. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there's all those articles that no one tweets. It's all those articles no one's written a blog post about. No one's done anything. Here's what I do as a bare minimum. The first thing is I try and think about what language is the best language to communicate my ideas. You should try Google Trends one day. I plugged in just then cheating and academic integrity, which are sort of two related terms for a thing that I research. Now, you can see that one of the terms is much more searched by people than another term. So I have thought about it, and I actually do use that cheating word more than the academic integrity word. Another thing you should do, get a Google Scholar profile. I know this is so basic stuff, but you should do it. When I Google an academic and they don't have one, it's really hard to see what they can do. And I know journalists Google my Google Scholar profile. I also know I get a lot of journalist approaches because I have myname.com. You should do that. You should find somewhere on the web to be your home where you put your stuff on. I have no aesthetic ability. I'm hideous at that stuff. I just plug stuff into a template and it looks okay. I know that journalists give me interviews that they don't give to other people because they can Google me. You should also find out, when can I share my research articles? So many of us are allowed to share our research, but we don't because we think we can't. There are databases like this one here where you can just type in names of journals. This is a journal I publish in. You type in the name of a journal and it will tell you when the full text of the article can be shared online freely. I get more approaches to do various things based on which articles are available for free online. And finally, you should get out there and maybe try appearing in a comedy show. Now, we have featured on our comedy show, the peer review, people who have done really well in 3-minute thesis. Isabella Bauer was one of our wonderful guests last year, and everyone loved her work so much, and the skills that she developed and showcased through 3-minute thesis were really applicable on stage. Even if you don't want to come on the show, perhaps you could consider coming to the show. If you are a HDR student or university casual, you can get free tickets from us and come along and see what are the sorts of questions comedians ask, because the sorts of questions comedians ask are the sorts of questions everyone's thinking about your work. And one last thing on questions, whenever you get asked a question, it's either because someone wants to hear this out of their own voice, or because this is maybe something that next time you talk about this, you could write down and work on and do better next time. That's really one of my big things. Every time someone disagrees or argues or whatever, I'm writing it down. I'm trying to do better next time. So that's the tour of me and my sort of research communication. I really hope you enjoy 3-minute thesis, visualize your thesis, making videos about your work. It really is one of the best things you can do to get your work out there, because if no one's engaging with your work, what's the point? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil. Please join me in thanking Professor Phil Dawson for his insights into research dissemination and for his strategies about how to develop these really vital research communication skills that impact on research dissemination. I would like to introduce Alfred Dick and Professor Matthew Clark, Pro Vice Chancellor, Research and Development. Matthew Clark conducts research in the sphere of economic development, international aid flows, and religion and development. In 2020, Matthew was appointed Pro Vice Chancellor, Research and Development, with university-wide responsibilities for all higher degree by research students, research integrity and ethics, and animal facilities and services. Prior to this, Matthew was responsible for merging two schools, International and Political Studies and History, Heritage and Society, to be the foundation head of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences. He led this school until 2020. During this period, the School of Humanities and Social Sciences grew to become the university's largest school in terms of student load. Matthew was a Fulbright Scholar in 2017 and 2018, during which time he was a visiting scientist at the Harvard Humanitarian Initiative at Harvard University. His research focuses on development and humanitarian action, with a particular focus on the Pacific region. He has written 8 books, edited 11 volumes, and authored or co-authored over 120 journal articles and book chapters, and has been awarded over $3 million in grants. Welcome, Matthew.
Thank you very much, Daniela, and thank you, Phil, as well, for your wonderful presentation. It's my great honour and privilege to formally open the 2023 3-minute thesis and visualise your thesis research communication skill program. As Daniela said at the beginning, this is one of the most important parts of the work that the Graduate Research Academy at Deakin does, because it is so vital and important to the future of our higher degree by research students, that ability to be able to communicate in an effective and efficient manner about their research. And so that's why I commend this program to you all and encourage you all to participate. And I'm sure we will hear from some of our past participants as to the value of it. It's so important that we have the ability to communicate about our research and the ability to be able to explain to people who aren't from our own discipline areas why our research is so important and the value that it adds. So in my mind, the 3-minute thesis and the visualize your thesis activities are very similar to the grandparent test that I encourage all my HDR students to do, all the students that I supervise. They need to be able to explain their research in a manner so that their grandparent can take it to the bowling club or bingo or the church or wherever it might be and explain it to one of their friends and have their friend understand it. Because if you have that clarity of understanding about your own research, if you're able to explain it in a clear and concise manner that someone else can explain it to a third party, then you'll never get lost. You'll never really get deviated from that North Star of what your research is all about. And so being able to practice that simple communication, that elevator pitch of your research is absolutely vitally important. And it's not just for your the ability to communicate to family and friends. It's also that ability to communicate to funding bodies, to future employees and industry partners, to help them understand why you're so passionate about this particular area of research. And so the 3MT and the Visualise Your Thesis program really is all about setting up a skill set for you to take into your futures. Now, if you stay within academia, you're going to have to communicate, obviously, in a technical way with your own discipline colleagues, but you are going to have to prepare other statements, the National Interest Statement, for example, in ARC grants, where in a very short number of words, you have to explain the value of your research to the Australian community. And that right now has become a binary fund, no fund decision-making aspect. So you need to be able to explain to others why your research is so important for that purpose, for example. But this is all about making sure that our higher degree by research students here at Deakin are able to communicate their ideas, their impact to a widest possible audience. And so the skills that you will learn through participating in all levels of these competitions will see you increase your ability to actually get out there and have impact and change the world through your research. So again, Daniela, I'd like to thank you and your team for taking carriage of this wonderful program. I'd like to encourage all of our students to participate and take advantage of all these opportunities. And I really do appreciate all the work that goes into these large programs. So again, it's my great honour to officially open and commence the 3-minute thesis and Visualise Your Thesis Research Communication Skills program starting today and culminating in what will be a wonderful final in very early August in just a couple of months' time. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, for your ongoing support, encouragement, and also amazing ideas regarding this program. So please join me in thanking our Deakin Professor Matthew Clark for launching the program. And now that it is officially launched, I'd like to just talk briefly about how to participate in the program and how to register for the 2 competitions. Now, all of you HDR students can participate in the development program, in the research skills development program, even if you don't participate in the 3MT and VYT competitions. But if you participate in the 3MT and VYT competitions this year, you do not have to come to the workshops. However, why not tap into this amazing learning opportunity and the feedback that you will receive to prepare and refine your presentations? I can see ITAM is sharing a link to the web page, to the Deakin Hub page of the program. So please go there and have a look and see what's on offer. And she will be also sharing information about how to register for the competitions. For those of you who will participate, our 3MT and VYT Research Communication Skills Program will support you every step of the way through the heats and hopefully into the finals and the Deakin Grand Final. And did I mention there are prizes? There are prizes. The winners of the 3MT and VYT Deakin Grand Finals receive $3,000, with $2,000 for the runners-up and $500 for the People's Choice Award winners. The winners of the 3MT faculty and institute finals will also take home prizes. These are the Deakin Research Prizes of $650 for the winners and $350 for the runners-up of the faculty and IFM finals. To participate in the 3MT, contact your faculty, institute, research administrators, and sign up for the local heats. They do start in late May and go through over June, so please get in touch and register now and start preparing. To participate in the VYT, go to the VYT webpage and register your interest now in the VYT Cloud Deakin course. Prepare to show drafts during the pre-submission studio on the 28th of June and submit your entry by the 5th of July. Now, if we come to a very exciting part of the launch today, and I will invite a panel of former winners and participants to share their experience. So I'm very happy to welcome Sumudu Malawarachi, from the Faculty of Health, who won the 2022 Deakin 3MT competition. Welcome, Sumudu. I would like to welcome Katia Freitas from the Faculty of Science, Engineering and Built Environment, who was the 2021 3MT winner and People's Choice Award of the 2021 and People's Choice Award of the same competition, the 2021 3MT. And at the same time, she was also the runner-up of the 2021 VYT competition. And last year, we asked her to participate in the judging panel of the 3MT competition. So she has a lot of experience to share there. I would like to also welcome to this panel two VYT finalists, Alistair Macaulay, who is from the Faculty of Arts and Education and who was a 2022 Deakin VYT finalist, and Davida Coronel from the Faculty of Arts and Education, who was the runner-up of last year's VYT competition. Welcome, everyone. Now, I'm going to ask all of you, why did you decide to participate in the competitions? And I'm going to start with Sumudu.
Thanks, Daniela. Yeah, so that I think I was exposed to this competition very early on in my candidature. So I think I had heard about it. I always knew I would take part. For me, it was more of a when than why I would take part. So I think for me, especially last year, my research plan had been confirmed. I had wrapped up a lot of my research, collected my data. It was a time point where I could really visualize how my research was shaping up to be. And I thought it was just an optimal time, really, to be able to learn how to effectively pitch. And I really wanted to tell everyone about my research because I was really excited about where it was heading. And I wanted everyone to know about what I found and what I was looking at. And I really, so I wanted everyone to be excited and interested in the research as much as I was.
And were they?
I hope so. I think they were.
Thank you.
There was lots of interest, yes.
Now let's go to Katia. What was your reasoning behind participating in the competitions?
Hi, Danielle, and hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for the invite. For me, I really wanted to participate. I always wanted, because back in my home country, I watched a lot of these competitions going on throughout the years, and I work with marine science education, so it's a big part of my work to communicate science. But most of the times I communicate science to children, not to adults. So it was a big challenge. And I think I felt the fear of public speaking a lot. And so at some point, it was crucial that my supervisor encouraged me to participate. I think that was the final push that I needed to just apply. And I had an amazing experience. So yeah, it was great. I think I felt the fear and I still did it, and yeah, it was good.
Excellent, thank you so much. And Alistair, why did you participate in the VYT?
Thanks, Danielle, and thanks again for the invite. This is going to sound, I mean this partly in jest, philosophy is definitely underrepresented in these competitions. And so and there is a long-running joke about how philosophy, you know, can be quite insular. So the main reason I wanted to participate was to learn about everybody else's research. The hard thing about doing a PhD isn't writing a thesis; it's situating it in a complex research field. So it's a great way to learn about what everybody else is doing.
Thank you. And Davida, what was your reasoning behind participating in the VYT?
Thank you. Honestly, it was, well, the prize money is very appealing. I'll be honest, but also it was just a fun, different way of engaging with the material, because you're always reading, you're writing. It's very head work. It's just nice to be able to just completely do something different.
Okay, so I'll go on to asking you another question. I'm really interested. Have you used the digital objects you created, either of your 3MT oral presentation or the VYT presentation you created? Have you used them, and where and how? And has the presentation that you developed and the narrative gone on to something bigger in the way you communicate your research? Or has it in some way impacted the way you articulate the impact of your research in your thesis? And I'm going to start probably with Davita, and then I'll go backward.
Yeah, I've shared it with people I contacted about a potential postdoc. I was like, oh, this is just an idea of what I'm doing now. And I've noticed that's a really nice and easy way to just let people know this is what I'm doing now.
Right, thank you. And Alistair?
Similar to Davita, I'm kind of amazed by how many people have actually seen the little 1-minute video. Again, I study philosophy. But it is really useful when you are, starting to branch out, thinking about postdoctoral research, and introducing others as to why it might be significant.
Thank you. And Katia?
In my case, it was really helpful, both the 3-minute thesis and the Visualize Your thesis, because for my PhD, we run a program for primary school teachers. So to kind of give them a general idea of what the project was about, I ended up using that as a recruitment method, or part of my recruitment method. So that was really good to engage them and just give them like a general view of this is what's going to happen, this is my project, and yeah, just share it with them. So it was good, helped a lot.
Thank you, Katia. And Sumudu?
Yeah, I think similar to others, I shared it on social media as well, and that generated quite a lot of conversations, not just with academics, but also with like friends and family, because my research is very applicable to sort of families with young children. Lots of people had lots of questions about my research, about screen use. I think another example I can give where the pitch came in quite handy is I used it as like an icebreaker in one of the community outreach type of presentations I was doing with a group of early childhood advocates and early childhood educators in the US. And so I used that as sort of the initial bit of my presentation, and that got everyone engaging and with the presentation. And I thought that was quite helpful.
Thank you, Sumudu. And did the development of the narrative for your 3MT presentation in any way affect or enhance or contribute to your thesis writing?
Absolutely. Yeah, it did. So I think, and I can personally vouch for that because I'm at the stage of writing my thesis now. And as I was structuring my thesis, I think the pitch and my 3-minute thesis structure really helped me visualize my thesis structure and just how to structure it in a way that it made sense and that it flowed logically. Yeah, so it was definitely helpful in that sense too.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, the next question is, what did you learn? What skills did you develop that you didn't have before? And I'm going to start with Katia, because you participated in the VYT and 3MT at the same time.
Yeah, I think one of the skills I learned was to be creative, number one, because we are only allowed for the 3-minute thesis to use 1 slide. So I'm not saying this is the right or wrong approach, but in my case, I decided to only use 1 image and no text or graphics, kind of use the approach of less is more. So I really had to rely on communication, my communication skills to convey the message. So what I did was trying to create a story and that people could relate with. So it would be easier, not only for me to, memorize my script and then engage people, but also for them to kind of understand better and without the jargon and without the most complex scientific concepts, what was the project about. So yes, that was the skills I learned. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And David and Alistair, you participated in the VYT. What skills and knowledge did you develop whilst preparing your presentations? We'll start with, David, thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, I made my video in PowerPoint, so I learned a lot of patience in PowerPoint, most of all, but no, that was just a little joke. For me, it was really useful in learning to just strip it all back in my thesis, because you're knee deep in like theories, methods, what your contribution is. Like it's this very deep layers to your thesis that not all resonate with the people that you're communicating to. So this was really useful in really stripping it back. What can I communicate that is simple and easy to understand?
And Alistair?
Well, I mean, the main thing is that writing for research is very different to writing for impact. And that's like I've found that to be particularly useful teaching, etc. Preparing anything with the class or any other kind of PowerPoint and speaking to a slide, or having a very finite amount of time to get a certain message across, and to encourage people to think in ways or different things on.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would like to ask you very, very briefly to give us some tips. Give those that are planning to participate this year in VYT or 3MT or both, what tips would you give them? Alistair, you can start.
I think if you're participating in VYT, I'd watch other people's contributions.
Okay.
Again, like the hard thing for me about doing a PhD isn't doing the PhD, it's situating yourself in a complex research field.
Thank you. And Davita?
Well, for one thing, the outline of the sort of timeline that the Visualise Your Thesis website, the Deakin module provides, is really useful. Like if you just follow that, take some time to think about something, then leave it for a while and then go into it again. That's really good. And what I found useful is that I spent some time looking at what audio and visual materials are out there. So that'll help you in thinking about the hook of your research, how you're gonna present it, how you're gonna start presenting it, because it's good to think of what materials can support this narrative that I'm starting. Yeah, and just have fun with all those different like websites full of audio stuff. It's really fun.
Thank you. And Sumudul?
I think what I can say is, yeah, take a step back, really get out of your research bubble a little bit sometimes and ask yourself the so what question. Every bit of research, think of so what, and think of the broader implications. How can I get other people interested in the research as much as I am? And another thing I really thought of was, what are the key takeaways of this presentation I'm doing? If the audience is to remember one or even 1 to 2, 3 things, what do I want them to be? And really trying to get your pitch around those things to get everyone engaging with your communication is really important, I think.
Thank you. And Katia, what are your tips? Especially because you've had the perspective of being on the judging panel.
Yes, so I would say practice, ask for feedback, practice a little bit more, ask for more feedback, tell people why you love what you do, show them, but keep it simple and meaningful. I think that's the key. And yeah, and also really looking into the criteria, because sometimes it's very hard to make a decision on which one should be the winner and the runner-up, and it goes back to looking at the criteria and see, okay, this person might have followed all of them and this person might have missed one, and sometimes we might not. spend that much time looking into the guidelines, and I think that's can be decisive in the end. So I would recommend that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tabitha, Alistair, Katia, and Sumudu for being available. We know you are very busy researchers, and for sharing your strategies and experience. We're very grateful. Thank you for your comments and questions, and for attending the launch of the 2023 Deakin 3MT and VYT Research Communication Skills Program. Please join me in thanking the speakers, Alfred Deakin Professor Matthew Clark, Professor Phil Dawson, our panel members, Sumudu Malawarachi, Katia Freitas, Alistair Macaulay, and Tabitha Coronel. I encourage you to take advantage of the program to upskill and learn how to get an edge, strengthen your research practices, and enhance your career. Please contact us should you have any inquiries or need for support. Thank you again for joining us. We wish you an exciting and rewarding learning journey.